The scene opens to a young Martin Myers, a few months older now and approaching his 22nd birthday. He is holding hands with Carolina as they walk through downtown Casita. Merchants are shouting about their goods and sales, and on this day it seems to be bustling. They browse through the wares being offered at the stands, and in the background the conversation can be heard of two young patrons shopping nearby. One of them starts, "So basically, centuries ago, an archaeologist found a message right here in La Isla that he who shall find the metal of power shall be bestowed great gifts upon them. No one has ever found it, though." The other patron asks, "So you think you will be the one to find it?" "Why not try, right?" the first customer says. "Maybe I can. And who knows what kind of gift it means. It'd be cool to find out." The two young customers then walk away with their newly purchased items. The couple continues walking by stands until one catches Carolina's eye, though Martin doesn't seem to notice. She glances at the stand selling artisan liquor, but then keeps walking. Later, after she and her partner parted, she returns to the stand. The old woman merchant sees her viewing her more expensive products and quickly sees an opportunity to make a sale. "Ah, my dear, if you're looking for something higher end, then I've just the thing for you." She then picks up a bright green heart-shaped bottle of absinthe with elaborate engraving from behind the counter, which was not with the general merchandise. She shows the young woman and her face lights up. "It's perfect," she exclaims. She pulls out the change purse from her pocket and counts out about 10 of the largest coins in the pouch and hands them to the saleswoman. "Enjoy," the old woman says, counting Carolina's money. 2 days later, the couple meet at the upper-end restaurant in town in their best attire in celebration of Martin's birthday and the couple having been together for 3 months. After dessert, he gifts her with a locket with their picture in it. He clasps it around her neck for her, and just as he sits back down, she pulls the bottle of absinthe out of her bag. She had added a bow and a tag stating, "Happy Birthday, XOXO." He was equally as excited about the gift as he was guilty that she spent so much money on his birthday. He pours some into a glass and dilutes it with his glass of water. He insists that Carolina try some. They drink and talk until they decide it's time that he walk her home. It had been raining, and Martin offers his girlfriend his coat as they walk. But when they get to her house, he kisses her goodbye, and right as he turns to leave, his eyes widen. He begins running as fast as he can into the distance. Carolina calls after him from her door. "Martin? Where are you going? Martin? Martin!"
Every time I do the sync test with Danielle now, I'm just waiting for her to be like, "You're counting off beat again."
No, you're not. You're great.
I'm the one fucking running it, Danielle. It's impossible for me to beat off beat.
Yeah, it's like on the offbeat. Musician stuff.
Yeah, musician stuff.
Chris performs within the beats.
We got the beats.
We do got the beats. Do we have like red beats or like rainbow beats? What are the beats we're eating?
They're not actually the beats that you eat. They're the beats from Doug.
Oh, the beats.
Yeah.
Banging on a trash can, drumming on a street light.
Never forget.
Never forget.
It's impossible.
It may be the greatest cartoon song ever.
I don't know why you didn't specify cartoon song. Could have just left off cartoon. Nickelodeon, don't bring back Doug. Just bring back a cartoon just specifically about the beats.
I love it.
Hello, internets. Welcome to a Critically Accursed podcast where the plot's made up and the roles don't matter. I'm your host, 3 kobolds in a trench coat, and joining me today are the Angry Beavers. Say hi, guys. Or don't.
Hi, guys.
Okay, cool. Great, good.
Which Angry Beaver are we?
Whichever one you want.
Daggett.
You want Daggett? Okay.
First off, I want to know if Danielle can actually name the other Angry Beaver.
I don't remember it.
Oh, no.
It was before her time.
No.
Way before her time.
No.
Snorbert.
I just don't remember the names.
Matt, remember, Danielle's like 12, okay?
I know. She's the baby.
I'm only a little bit more than 12.
Okay, 15, whatever.
I sure look it.
Can you vote yet?
Legally?
No, illegally.
Illegally, yeah. As everybody did.
Okay, good, great. I had to clear that up. Oh, well, hey guys, welcome back to yet another session of Horizon, our tale of heroes and hormones. I suppose the two of you are chock full of hormones today.
Imaginary ones.
Okay, then. Great. We left you guys off on the cusp of a villainous encounter. How you guys feeling going into this, assuming you remember last session, which is a bold assumption of me to make, but...
Ready to ride.
Curious and a little nervous.
Sounds like you, Danielle.
Cautiously optimistic.
Everything will be fine.
It'll probably be fine. I mean, your grandfather will still be very sad, regardless.
Sell out.
I feel so bad.
Sell out.
Because I rolled bad.
To repaint the scene a little bit, before we go and swing back into this in full gear, today's comic book, we fling that sucker open, and we get maybe a, actually, I like doing this a lot better. Can you guys tell me, like, what's the first page of the comic book today? You establish the scene, and I'll run from there. Whoever wants it.
Ooh, I have a pretty good idea. If we did them side by side, like comparing their...
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking of doing. Okay, yeah. We're gonna have Recharge racing through the streets on his bike. That big neon green streak going across the page, and a little thought bubble that comes up says, "Gotta go faster." You see the grimace on his face as he says, "Rockets engage."
That's great. Danielle, like, if we're splitting the page in half, what's your half look like?
The other half is Sky flying through the air. Her, like, arm is bent, like she's checking her watch, and her digital smart panel watch thing comes up with, like, a holographic arrow, like, turn right here.
The smartwatch projects holograms of the rings from Superman 64 that you have to fly through. And with all of that set up, we turn the page, or we look to the next page, to page 2 of our comic book, where we see on this page is an establishing shot of local fast food chain, the Pork Shack. On a street corner around downtown Horizon City, it's night proper by this point. There are people on scene by the time the two of you arrive. There's a police presence or a law enforcement presence that has kind of created a barricade or a line around the establishment to keep onlookers a safe and comfortable distance away from what's going on. So, like, the parking lot's empty, but the street's blocked off. The sidewalks are blocked off. And there's police vehicles, and their lights are lighting up the surrounding area. Let's start with Sky Valor. We had established that you landed at the end of the last comic book. The scene is yours at this point. Paint me a picture.
Well, her official, like, orders were they were to find Recharge. So I'm gonna look for Recharge.
Do you land, like, in the middle of the crowd? Do you land, like, a block away and then, like, sneak over?
I was imagining at first she would be a little bit closer than, like, the edge of the block, you know, right with the street in between. So just at the edge, but, like, scanning the crowd as much as she could, because if she's in the crowd, I feel like you have to, like, turn all the way around. She's just, like, looking at a very quick scan of the crowd and sees what she finds.
So maybe she's even still in the air.
Oh yeah, that would be better.
Probably, right?
That makes sense. Bird's eye view and all.
It's almost like maybe we get a panel of her, like, going to land, and then, like, a thought bubble of her, like,
wait, I could see better in the air.
So then, before I swing on over to me charge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say some of the things you see, Sky Valor, is you're hovering a good distance above ground level. And you see several police officers. They've, like, taped off this section. They're blocking it with their own vehicles. There's several of them out there just keeping, like, the press and people away who are looking in not awe, but curiosity at the Pork Shack and what's going on inside. And the Pork Shack, it's lit up. It's as if it was open, but you can see, even from your vantage point, that there's no people inside. The parking lot has just a few cars scattered around, self-driving cars scattered around, but there's no activity really going on in the Pork Shack.
Didn't the people say that there shouldn't be people arriving? Like, that was one of their conditions, I thought.
Yeah, so on the transmission, the villain had basically called out Recharge. The villain had it having someone, like, on a chair with a pork shack bag over their head and a knife to their throats, and said that if any other hero other than Recharge shows up...
Hero, okay. I thought it was just, like, don't let anybody show up, and I'm like, oh, great, this is already ending great.
I mean, it's probably safe to assume that if anyone walked into the front door, things would go south immediately, which is why the police are keeping such a wide distance from the situation, because it's a hostage situation, effectively.
Right, okay. I just thought that, like, if anybody showed up, I thought it was supposed to be a secret thing, and if anybody, like, were to come by, then, bad things would, occur. So that's good. It's a little bit better than it sounds.
Yes, it's a little bit better than it sounds. Turning the page yet again, shifting perspective from Sky Valor to Recharge. Recharge, paint me a picture. Tell me what's up.
You described, like, what the front of the pork shack looks like, the building itself.
It doesn't have a second level, it's just one story. It's kind of a wider building, not like super wide or anything, but there's a parking lot that pretty much goes all the way around for purposes of a drive-through, I guess, which still exists in 2172.
Obviously. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, why wouldn't it? We've established it in Todd's first issue, so the front part of the building, it's on a corner. The front part of the building facing the street seems to be mostly, like, if you look through the windows, mostly seating areas inside. And then the actual kitchen and front counters to, like, the rear corner of the building.
Okay. Does it have, like, I assume it has big glass doors, like most fast food places do?
Yeah. They want outsiders to see people eating.
Yeah. So it's not going to be hard to spot Recharge because he's flying in on a rocket-propelled bike. So I assume that the police cars are kind of in the way. So the panel's going to look like Recharge streaking across down the streets again, leading up to the pork shack. The rockets are just throwing him forward. Big, like, rocket trail on the page. And Recharge is going to hop the police barricade, maybe launching himself off of one of the cars, and then go through the front doors with his bike.
Fucking amazing. Cool, I'm in awe. That sounds really fucking dope. I think to kick this thing off proper, why don't we, based on the individual perspectives and pages that we've given your characters, why don't we talk about having you both make a role of some sorts? I'm going to turn back to Sky Valor first, who's keeping an eye on the situation. And just so you know, Sky Valor, you definitely will see what Recharge is doing. You notice everything we've both described. It's obvious, it's right in front of you. But assuming you want it, the role that I'm going to ask you to make is an assess the situation role, because you're actively, like, watching, listening, and assessing the situation. So maybe you can go into this with a little bit more information.
Right, and I feel like with the circumstances, she kind of needs to tread lightly as well, so assessing the situation wouldn't be bad.
Right. So to assess the situation, it's 2d6 plus superior. However, I noticed that you are feeling guilty, which is a -2.
Well, that's interesting. I rolled double 6, so 10.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Great. So a 10 is a hit. You get to ask 2 questions from the Assess the Situation list. You can also include general questions about the situation that may not be included on the list. I like being able to branch out a little bit from the kind of limited questions they provide there.
I like, how could we best end this quickly to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good one to ask.
For sure.
How could we best end this quickly? You would imagine that based on how all of this is looking and the information you have, there being one guy in there with one hostage, and from what you see, no one else really inside the pork shack, probably the best way to end this quickly would be, I'm picturing like a pincer flanking assault between you and Recharge that might take this guy by surprise, because most people can't defend from 2 fronts.
That is a good idea. Okay, cool. And Well, I think that there's some very obvious ones on this sheet, so I don't feel like I need those.
Another thing to consider with some of the questions on the sheet, because there's only 5 questions for each of the moves you can do that give you information. A lot of them you might think you know the answer to, but if you ask them, you might get more information. Because there's no perception roll in this game. You're not rolling to perceive the unknown. I'm just telling you what you see. And while you think you may understand everything, the only way you can verify what you understand is essentially by asking these questions. If that kind of helps with perspective at all about how this game works.
I'm just going to say, what here is the biggest threat? I mean, I vaguely probably know, but more details might be useful.
Outside of everything here, large crowds can technically be a threat if they get panicked. You know this, you've seen it on Remembrance Day. You learned about it when you learned superheroing from your grandfather. You know, crowds can be dangerous. Obviously, the psycho with the knife inside Pork Shack who called out Recharge, probably a threat. He's calling the shots here. He's running the game. This is his show. That said, it looks like he just has a knife, but maybe he has some other weird powers kicking around in there. So from your perspective, being relatively invincible and fairly capable, the biggest threat in this situation is probably the unknown. And the unknown in this situation is the hostage he has. Why does he only have one hostage? Yeah,
that's true. I was kind of wondering what was the whole thing with that. Like, did he do something? Or did he, all that kind of thing.
Right. So your superhero sense might be saying, it's easy to write off, one dude, one hostage, but maybe there's more to it than that.
Very reasonable.
Flipping the page yet again to rejoin Recharge on his fantastically awesome journey to the Pork Shack. Here's the drinking game. Take a drink every time I say Pork Shack in this episode. Recharge, you're vaulting over some police vehicles and launching yourself through the front door with your rocket bike?
Sure am.
Awesome. Great. Good. So the role that I'm thinking to have you make is unleash your powers, because I think one of your powers is athleticism, right?
Enhanced, agility, strength, toughness.
So I think you can use that in combination with the energy absorption stuff you have going on, and do some cool biking maneuvers. Let's see, you have no conditions. Lucky you.
Yep.
So it's just 2d6 plus your freak.
I have -1. Ooh. I did roll a 9. I got a 6 and a 4.
So with a 9, it's not a hit. It's a partial success.
That's fine.
So with you doing the super cool maneuver, you either A, can choose to mark a condition, or B, I'll tell you how what you're doing is unstable or temporary, or otherwise not as effective as you hoped it would be.
Do the second one.
Great. You described it vaulting over the police vehicles on your bike and aiming to ride right through the front doors of the Pork Shack.
I saw it more in my head as coming off of the car, sailing through the air with the bike tires out, and then crashing through the windows. But,
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I'm also, yeah. And that begins to go off. You get about halfway through all of that, and then in one instance, you catch this air, and then the rockets stop, and then they sputter a little bit, really quickly, and then your bike launches out from underneath you. You Recharge, plop to the ground as your bike sails through the front glass doors of the Pork Shack.
Perfect.
And the crowd gasps, and some cheer.
Can I land in a crouch? Like a cool superhero crouch?
Yeah. Only if you describe it to me a little bit awkward.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it to you. Okay, so the bike comes flying out because the rockets malfunction, and the bike goes propelling, like you said, through the windows, except now instead of going vertically through these split double door, it's kind of sideways, so it just takes the whole thing out. Recharge hits the ground, does a tumble, because he just can't control his energy, and then he manages to awkwardly strike a superhero pose as he somersaults on the ground a few times. He's probably got a rip in his suit already.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, some people in the crowd gasp, others cheer because they know who you are, Recharge, apparently. And the local law enforcement is just trying to keep the crowd back and keep them settled down to keep the situation under control. As you kind of get into your superhero crouching pose, you hear from the front of the crowd, one of the police officers like holds up a small device to his mouth.
What do you think you're doing? Reacher, get over here. Get over here.
Yeah, I'll look up, look at the door, kind of look over my shoulder. There'll be a thought bubble that says, I really hope that looked cool. And Recharge will look up at the doorways that are completely shattered, look back, and say, sorry, Chief, gotta ride. And then I'll rush into the doors.
Great. And the panel where we get you rush... Actually, the panel where you look over your shoulders, we can see inside the pork shack. I mean, it's mostly windows. So you can probably even see in the seating area where things have been pushed aside, the one dude who was on the stream that called you out, like standing there with the person in the chair in front of him, watching as this bike like crashes in there and begins like spinning on the ground in a circle as only one of the rockets keeps going.
Yeah, and I'll rush in to take advantage of that. This time a neon yellow streak running into the building.
Yes, and as we get that panel where you're running into the building, and in the background, this one, like, law enforcement agent just, like, yelling, just yelling curse words after you. We switch perspectives back to Sky Valor to see how she wants to approach the situation at this point.
Well, based on my questions, it is probably a good idea to go a different way if there's another entrance where I can, kind of team up on this guy.
A lot of the front and sides of this building are windows, so it's glass that you can pretty easily punch through, and the glass won't even cut you because you're fucking invincible, I think. But you also know that there's probably a back entrance if you wanted to take a stealthy approach.
Yeah, I'll try that. Just because I don't want to, have to deal with the law enforcement and everybody. But I mean, I could technically just, symbol of authority, be like, wait, I'm a Valor, punch.
Yes, that's true. That's also an option.
You know what? I'm going to do that one. I want to do that one. Yeah, let's roll.
Before you roll, tell me what happens. Last we saw Sky Valor, she was up in the sky, looking down, watching the situation, having some thinky thoughts to herself. What happens next?
So she thinks to herself, okay, oh, that is a good idea. Great. Good thinking, me. And then she sees the back entrance and goes, you know what? Let's go through the window. I'm assuming the side window, unless there was one towards the back, but the closest window to the back, she's just gonna try to punch through.
Sure, yeah. There's probably even a window that leads to a back room that doesn't even go into one of the front rooms where this guy actually is. If you want to get into a room and then creep your way forward through the pork shack.
Yeah, be a little stealthy. Why not?
So we see her fly down and carefully punch out a window so as not to create too much noise.
Yeah.
And what's the plan once Sky Valor climbs through the window like a low-life burglar? What's next?
Try and just listen for a second.
Okay. So then what I can say is you get into this back room. It's maybe we'll do it back in the kitchen. You climb in through the kitchen. Actually, you probably went through the drive-through window. That's probably what it is.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yep.
Amazing.
Climbing in through the drive-through window, you end up basically in the kitchen, and it's empty of people. There's actually some stuff still frying in the fryer, some pork french fries. The first thing you hear is the sound of a rocket fizzling out and metal grinding against the ground.
Odd.
And behind that noise, you hear the muffled cursing of a law enforcement agent.
No, don't go in there. What are you doing? You need to listen to me. Fucking kids these days. Rabble, rabble, rabble.
Rabble,
And
rabble.
Do I hear anything from the other guy? The hostage situation?
No, you're not hearing him talk, or you don't hear any other movement in this room yet, except potentially for the approaching rapid footsteps of Recharge.
Okay. It's kind of weird if they're taking a hostage and they're not going to be tormenting them? I don't know. Usually I would think that they'd be oh, stop crying or something like that. I don't know.
No, that's fair. Yeah, for whatever reason, you don't hear any sort of torments coming from the front of the establishment.
Suspicious.
So, just so I know where Sky Valor is in Recharge's following panels, is she like peering around a corner, listening behind a corner, peeking above the counter where people order food?
Yeah, I think she's like peeking above the counter, and I picture there's like an entrance in between the counter and like the other room. So like if something happened really urgently, then she could, pop up and start doing stuff. But like she doesn't want to make herself known to the guy yet, just to see what happens with the recharge thing first.
Yeah.
Being careful.
Next panel, we switch back to Recharge's perspective. Paint me a picture, and then I will, I guess, jump in when appropriate.
Yeah, Recharge is going to rush in through the broken glass doors, probably avoiding, cutting himself. And I was hoping to get kind of a layout of what I see when I rush in.
Yeah, a quick layout of the establishment, because it's probably worth establishing, is the front doors Recharge that you go through are basically in the middle of the front of this building, and they lead into a more open area on the right, and leading around the right side of the building is a seating area for people to sit and eat at the pork shack. To the left begins the lines to the front counter, and although Recharge may not notice it, the readers definitely see like Sky Valor's head peeking above the counter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's mostly seating area to the right and ordering area to the left.
Okay. Do I see the guy in the hostage?
Yeah, right in front of you, your bike is now just on the ground. It's no longer moving. There's smoke billowing from the rockets. And to the right, like I said, the seating area, the booths and tables and chairs have been pushed to the side. And like standing in the middle of it is this dude you saw on the stream. He's thin. He's wearing kind of ratty clothing, things with holes in it, like a hooded sweatshirt with holes in it, torn up jeans, very similar to Todd DeBoer. They're not future torn jeans. And his face is covered by a digitalized holographic mask of the Pork Shack mascot, Porky. And he's standing there, one hand on the shoulder of this woman dressed in Pork Shack clothing or Pork Shack uniform, with a Pork Shack food bag over her head. It's paper because plastic bags are illegal now.
Yep, of course.
Yes.
Bad for the sea turtles.
He has the knife right under her chin, and he kind of seems to be swaying in place a little bit, and he was looking at the bike until you ran in. He takes the knife away from under her chin a little bit and like taps the chair she's seated in a few times to emulate like clapping, and he sways as he speaks, and he just says, Recharge, oh, I'm glad you came. I suppose we can play a little bit now. I was waiting for you. I knew you'd show up, though. I knew you'd show up. You couldn't resist, could you? And he, like, taps her on the side of the head with the knife.
Yeah, I'll crack my knuckles and say, looks like somebody ordered an ass kicking for delivery.
That's so good.
Fucking damn, dude. Great, podcast is over. It doesn't get better than that.
It's play the song, play us out.
We need a comic book just of this. Just of the best panels.
Best our podcast has to offer is that one line in the teaser. That's great.
Oh my gosh. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, finger guns.
And in doing that, can I actually do one of my Janus moves?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
It sounds like I'm putting my game face on when I commit myself to saving someone or defeat a terrible enemy. Mark a condition and take +1 ongoing to all rolls in direct pursuit of that goal. I'm committing myself to saving the hostage, so I'm going to get +1 to all rolls in pursuit of that.
Yes. You do have to mark a condition to do this, though.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll go game face, and then I'll do angry.
So, if Recharge is having a thought bubble as he's putting on his game face, what is he thinking, or how do we see that he's angry at this point?
The neon colors have shifted to probably like a a neon like orange or red, like an orangish red color, because he's basically a mood ring at this point. Yeah, he has a scowl on his face, and there's a thought bubble that says, "This guy knows where I live. He's taunting me over the internet. And I'm going to do everything I can to save this girl."
Nice. Great. Before I carry on that scene, I imagined like one cutaway panel, maybe even a small one in the corner of one of Recharge's panel. And I want to hear Danielle tell me how Sky Valor reacts to Recharge, to the most badass line we've heard this entire game.
She just kind of like smiles and covers her mouth.
Does she have any thought bubbles?
That is such a cool line.
There we go. Perfect. That's teenage superheroes in a nutshell.
Wow.
Maybe I need a cool catchphrase.
I should have comebacks like that.
I could learn a lot from this guy.
We cut back to the villain with the knife, which I pictured just to be like a standard fucking kitchen, standard large kitchen knife.
Yeah, I assume he just had like a chef's knife from the back or something.
Yeah, you can actually see it if you look in there. It's like chipped at some parts too, which just makes it like serrated essentially, like worse, I guess. Recharge, you say your badass line, and he lets out this wicked sort of laughter. He reacts kind of like how I reacted, and descending into laughter. And once he picks it back up a little bit, he just says, "No one told me how funny you were." It's a shame you won't be around much longer.
Yeah, there's definitely a thought bubble from Recharge saying, "Well, don't make it freaking awkward."
You see him twitch a couple of times, and he watches you. "So, what's it gonna be, hero? Do you think you can get here fast enough to stop me from killing her?"
Can I use a move? Can I pierce the mask?
Yeah, as you're facing off with this guy, you guys are having a little bit of a hero-villain back and forth, and you're watching him. You're noticing these weird things about him. You can totally make me a pierce the mask roll, which is 2d6 plus mundane, -2 because you're angry.
Yes. So I got a 6. I did not succeed.
That means you get to mark potential. Recharge, you study this guy, and honestly, to you, he just seems deranged. You're not sure what his motives are. You're not sure who he really is or what the whole purpose of this is. He just seems kind of bonkers. And he stops holding onto her shoulder and opens his free hand a little bit, kind of gesturing to the front of the pork shack. And he says, "Well, what are we waiting for? There's an audience, Recharge. Don't you want to show them how heroic you really are?" And we cut to Sky Valor hiding behind the counter like a true hero.
She's waiting to pounce.
She's ready to pounce. Are you just waiting for things to kick off?
Basically, because, I mean, she's not supposed to be there. So she's just kind of waiting for an opportunity so that, you know, this person's life isn't in danger. So she's just kind of hoping that she gets her opportunity, like, ASAP. But I have an idea, too. I've been listening. Can I pierce the mask?
Yeah, let's have you do something. Matt got to do something. Let's have you do something. Sure, if you want to roll 2d6 and add mundane to it.
Cool. I mean, like, I've been hearing the same things and stuff. I mean, I might be able to tell a different inflection or something.
Yeah, and you've assessed the situation before rocking in here, so you've caught glimpses of him before, too, so.
Right. I actually got a 9.
You actually got a 9. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I never rolled this good.
You get to ask one question from the Pierce the Mask list.
What are you really planning?
Yeah, you're listening to him, and, you know, you remember your grandfather, your father, your mom at times telling you stories about them having showdowns with villains and the villainous monologues. Those memories are resonating with you a little bit. This guy is not stalling for time. He's maybe a little deranged, but he's not just, "I'm crazy, so I'm going to pick up a knife and call out a local hero." There's intent here, and you know, you have a strong impression, strong reason to believe that he wants to kill Recharge. The reasoning for that, it's hard to say. Maybe if you were talking to him, you could bait it out of him, but he definitely seems to be focused and after Recharge.
And less focused on the hostage? Is the hostage just a bait?
Yes, you strongly get the impression of some sort of trap going on here. Like, let's bait Recharge into a trap where he's easier for me to kill.
Well, it's a good thing I'm here.
Yeah, and he apparently has no idea. So do we see, like, Madison, Sky Valor, crouching behind the counter, thinking to herself, listening, putting that together?
Yeah, almost exactly, just being like, okay, A plus B equals C.
It's like, A is a cartoon version in your thought bubble of this guy with a knife, B is Recharge, and then equals is like Recharge with a knife in him lying on the ground with X's over his eyes.
Skull and crossbones, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like that.
It's like very, like terrible cartoon animation. It's like something she would have drawn.
Absolutely. And the next panel, we go back to Recharge's perspective. He's standing there. He's facing this lunatic down. And I believe the ball is back in Recharge's court. He's being called out by this knife-wielding villain.
Is the bike in between him and I?
If that will let you do something cool, then yeah. Okay, yeah, totally. It's totally 100% conveniently right between the two of you.
Is the one rocket still going off?
It's since stopped moving. They are smoking, though.
That's fine. Okay. I'll look down at my feet, look back up at him, and just say, I'm willing to test that, and get a running start, and I'm going to kick one of the rockets off of the bike into his face.
Oh, nice. So it's like a perfectly placed kick to dislodge it from your bike. Yeah.
And then just send it like a soccer ball straight into his face.
Awesome. Incredible, even. That, to me, sounds like a directly engaging a threat roll. You can roll 2d6 plus your current danger score. You put on game face. I think this does apply because it's like taking out the guy that's holding a knife to her throat. So you get a +1 on top of whatever you're rolling.
Sure. So +3. Ooh. That is an 11.
Then you get to pick 2 from the list.
I would like to impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition. So I'm assuming surprise. As I don't just run directly at him, I pull up and then just field goal kick a smoldering rocket into his face.
That, to me, sounds incredibly surprising.
And then, as the rocket is rocketing toward his face, I'm going to follow up behind it, kind of using it to obscure his vision so he can't see me coming up, and I'm going to take something from him, and I'm going to take the knife.
So, with surprise, frighten, or impress the opposition, I pick which one of those applies.
Oh, okay.
It's most fitting to the narrative,
That's
but
fair.
you're probably on the right track. And the other point I want to note that if you don't choose to resist or avoid their blows, he's going to land a blow on you.
Oh, then, yeah, I'll resist or avoid a blow. We'll drag this out a little longer.
Instead of
Taking something.
So you launch this bike at him, or you launch the rocket at him, and it definitely takes him by surprise. He doesn't have enough time to react, because he was going to react, as you said, to you, and not the projectile you soccer balled into his face. And he recoils a bit, taking substantial steps back away from the hostage in the chair, allowing you the room to approach and get up close. And he, in stumbling for his footing, he is unable to take any swings at you. And I think we can effectively put you between him and the hostage, if that sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Yeah, he stumbles and he kind of like holds the side of his head with his free hands and regains his footing, and he looks up at you. Very, very clever, Recharge. Okay, now let's see if you can deal with this. And he's like gritting his teeth as he's talking, and faster than you can expect, he flings himself at you. And this isn't just like, oh, I run outside, I'm a good sprinter. This is like he's 5 feet in front of you, and you're halfway through a blink, and now he's at your right side, plunging a knife into your arm. As he begins moving, Madison, you hear this. You hear all of this go down.
Okay. I'm just deciding between helping the hostage so he doesn't have anybody else to deal with, and putting myself in between the two of them. Considering his motives, I think I'd probably try and defend Recharge.
So to defend recharge, what you're going to roll is 2d6 plus savior.
This is good and bad. This is a good time to succeed, but I'm not getting more potential, which is upsetting. But currently I have a 12 for that, because I have a +2 for savior.
You definitely keep recharge safe, but you also get to pick one of the options from the defend list.
Wait, clear a condition. Please.
Yeah, which condition do you want to clear?
I'm not afraid. I'm a freaking superhero.
Tell me descriptively how Sky Valor defends recharge and how this helps her shake the afraid condition.
My first instinct, as long as I can go with this, is that she had been, like, creeping towards the side where the entrance to the main room is, and just kind of propels herself flying, like, but at a lower height, like a rocket. Just propels herself in between them to, block off him.
She very much squeezes her way between the two of them, so that the knife glances harmlessly off of her invulnerable skin.
And that's probably why she wouldn't be afraid anymore. She's not afraid. She's defending someone else that's in danger. And she can do it because she's invincible. Then she stands up straight, hands on her hips, going, "Nice try. Gonna have to do better than that."
Yeah, and what's recharge reaction in this panel?
It's just like, whoa.
The following panel has the guy with the knife and the Porky mask on. Like, the knife glances off of Sky Valor and he stumbles to the side a little bit with, like, a little bit of momentum. And he just kind of, one hand still at the side of his head, just starts laughing out loud a bit. And he's kind of hunched over. The two of you rejoined again after Remembrance Day, standing pretty much side by side, can hear from the hostage with the bag over her head just the sounds of maybe like light crying, perhaps. This guy with the knife, I'll just call him Porky for now because that's the mask he's wearing. Porky just says, "Sky Valor, good. I was hoping another hero might stop by. It's open season on you fucks anyways, so let's do this." And let's see, he's still pretty pissed. We'll kick this back over to Recharge. This guy, for all intents and purposes, looks like he's going to compose himself and go after you again, maybe circumventing Sky Valor. But the ball's in your courts. She just saved you, and you know that this guy can move incredibly fast.
I think I'm going to have to directly engage him again. I want to get the knife away from him so he's not dangerous.
Meet him on the field of battle at the Pork Shack.
That's the plan.
Yep.
6 plus 3 is 9.
On a 9, you get to pick one.
As Sky puts herself between us, Recharge will, exclaim, "Whoa," like he did, and then rush in underneath, like kind of under Sky Valor, because she's taller than Recharge is. And he will just kick at the guy's hand, kicking the knife out, kind of in a low crouch.
The low kick.
Yeah, and then send it like skittering across the ground, probably under a table or something like that.
As you almost like you kick the knife out of his one hand, but although he was planning to like bolt around and stab you, I think what happens is because he's so quick that when you go to kick him, it's a bit clumsy. You'd go to do this low kick, but you have to adjust at like the last moment to try to catch him. And you totally do. You get that knife, the knife goes out, but he doesn't even seem to react to it. He's already following up with something else. And it's just like this visceral, like, punch to the jaw with his left hand, and then like he grabs your throat and just like claws at it a little bit. He doesn't rip your throat out, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like it sucks. It takes a little bit of wind out of you, and you probably feel some blood coming from your throat. He got you. This guy's quick, maybe quicker than you will ever be. Recharge, how you feeling?
I guess insecure after your description for that.
Perfect. He lets out this bit of a wild cackle as he just starts assaulting you with his bare hands, knife or not. And Sky Valor, the two of them are getting into this superpowered skirmish where Porky is just moving very quickly. His movements are blurred. He's moving so fast, and Recharge is probably defending himself, like holding up his hands and just trying to...
I'll touch the blood on my throat, look at it on my hands and say, I don't know what you're laughing about. She's still here.
Yeah, and he's so focused on recharge that he doesn't react outside of his wild laughter. But the panel shifts focus onto Sky Valor, and right next to her, the hostage in the chair shakes the chair a little bit and makes a few more noises. But the ball is in Sky Valor's court.
Well, knowing that she's not the real target, I know it might be uncomfortable to her, but I mean, if I can get this guy, I would, because the real threat is against recharge. Is there any way I can see where he's going or where he ends up? The plan would probably just be wait until there's a moment where he just stops momentarily and just...
If you just want to attempt to throw down in fisticuffs with him, that's totally acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to be able to hit him. But I mean, if I can see the direction he's moving, I'm sure I could figure out how to hit him.
Then what you're trying to do is directly engage a threat. You're trying to directly engage him to the best of your capabilities. So we'll see how you roll and figure out how that looks.
Or fight the good fight?
Yeah, if you want to, because I think that's non-lethal and you just can't impress, surprise, or frighten him through it. That's totally fine.
I don't need that. I just want to hit. Just want to hit him. That is a miss. That is a 4.
Wow. That's on 4 Chunits.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll show myself out. Matt, you can run the podcast.
And the
podcast. Cool. So...
Don't worry, I've already marked my potential.
Yeah. Oh, I know how this is going to play out. Okay. Yeah, let's fiction this shit up. Danielle, can you tell me how your attempt to engage this rabid speedster fails?
I feel like it's just kind of they're speeding back and forth, and it's like that thing with the lines where you just see them moving, and I try to time it just to when he stops momentarily, and then he just speeds away.
It's like Superman not using his super speed to try to fight the Flash. You know, you take a swing, but he's already gone. You take another swing where you think he'll be, and he's not even close.
It's just question marks above her head when she takes the swing and there's nothing there. She's just where'd it go?
Right. So what we see is Sky Valor entering the fray essentially, and diverting at least some of this guy's attention away from Recharge, who's a little bit bloodied now. And he seems to be maybe even moving slightly faster and kind of dancing around Sky Valor as she tries to get her hands on him. Recharge, you don't have a move yet. I'm still following up with something, but how do you look in this panel, in this scene?
Just holding on to the slight wound in his neck and just kind of watching, maybe a little bit in awe of these two flicking around super fast, fighting each other.
Maybe beginning to picking yourself up from the low kick crouching position. And I think as you're standing up, or even in the background of this panel, what we see is that once Sky Valor has stepped away from the hostage, the hostage moves a hand away from her side that is apparently free, rips the paper bag off of her head, and almost instantly this digitalized mask pops over her face. A digitalized porcelain, doll mask. As Recharge, you're standing up, your back to her. She bolts from the chair incredibly fast, twitching a few times, and plunges a blade of her own into your shoulder, between your shoulder and dangerously close to your neck. I would like you to roll to take a powerful blow for me.
Oh, let's see. What do I roll for that?
It's 2d6 plus the number of conditions you have.
Plus conditions? Oh.
So it's 2d6 plus 2.
That's 10.
Great. So on a 10, you have to choose one of the following. You must remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, die if you want for some reason. You lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way, or you pick 2 options from the 7 to 9 list.
I don't even know. I guess I'll choose 2 from the 7 to 9 list. I think I'll give ground. Your opposition gets an opportunity, and it's dangerous. I guess I'm going to take the 2 conditions.
That is dangerous. Which 2 conditions are you marking?
Probably hopeless and afraid.
Only leaves you with guilty left, friend. But she, plunges this blade, like I said, very dangerously close to a vital part of your neck, right in the shoulder blade. And the speech bubble coming from her is just this shrill sort of laughter. You're going to make a fine bounty. This is great. What I want to turn to next is Sky Valor. You stepped away from the hostage. You left her alone to confront the speedster that you're completely outclassed by him. You haven't been able to lay a finger on him. And glancing over as he's dancing around you, you see Recharge, like, take a very serious wound. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel like, in a way, it's either hopeless or insecure, and I feel like insecure would fit better just because it's like she just put herself out there and said, oh, I got this. I'm not afraid of these people. I'm defending this guy. And now it's like, oh, that didn't work. Like, you could keep trying, but so far, it's not going great.
So, hopeless it is?
I think it's hopeless.
Do you either of you want to tell me currently what your characters look like? Recharge, you're giving ground, so you don't have a move yet. The opposition's going to get something on you. But is there anything you guys want to add to the scene before I take it another step forward?
I feel like she was just, like, after she swung and missed, she just kind of, like, stood there kind of trying to assess what's going on, because she obviously is like, wait, why did I miss? I calculated this. He should have been here. He's not. And when she turns and sees that happening to Recharge, she's just like, because of the hopeless especially, just like at a loss, like, wait, what do I do? How do I go from here? So she's just a little bit confused looking, just standing there trying to figure out what to do, I guess.
I'm probably just frantically defending myself. You know, as I said, I'm giving ground. So right now it looks like full panic has set in.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Your opposition, you know, they seem to be in control of the situation, and Recharge is losing a little bit, so they have a leg up on him. And as this porcelain mask-wearing woman rips the now bloodied blade from Recharge's shoulder, we see the blur that is the Porky Speedster bounce over to where the knife was, and then begin to bounce back towards Sky Valor, just like full throttle freight train running at her. We see, as Recharge is defending himself, the porcelain masked woman had come at him from the back, and with her free hand, she reaches over and like grabs the tip of his visor and begins to pull back. Sky Valor, what do you want to do?
So Recharge is the target.
Right, but you're getting the impression that the guy you were trying to hit is coming after you at this moment. But also Recharge is about to be demasked.
Well, since he's doing so poorly, I think I'll try and defend him.
So if you want to make me a defend roll, it's 2d6 plus savior.
7.
You defend him, yes, but it costs you. You expose yourself to additional danger, or you escalate the situation.
I don't feel like the situation needs escalating. I feel like it's already escalated too far. I'll take the danger.
Tell me how you defend Recharge. What is it that Sky Valor does?
It's just gonna be like me kind of pushing her away, but like being right there next to her while she was trying to go after him.
So it's kind of like a big kid putting their hand on the forehead of a small kid to keep them away. You're still like right there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And yeah, she lets go of Recharge's helmet. Her grip slips as you forcefully shove her aside. What follows up is like, you shove her aside, but she grabs onto your arm and like climbs onto your back and begins just with her free hand and the knife hand just trying to stab at something or like claw at your face. Like, you're invincible. The knife's not going to do a lot, but it's definitely annoying and uncomfortable. And on top of that matter, you have this other guy who, since you're completely preoccupied now, just like rushes in, and you just see this blurry fluid motion back and forth as if he's just sawing at you with super speed to carve into you. And Sky Valor, I'm going to ask you to roll to take a powerful blow because you're being assaulted by two rando speedsters, I guess. So roll me 2d6 and add the number of conditions you currently have.
7.
You get to choose one from the 7 to 9 list if you have it in front of you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, this is tough.
It's tough. It's a tough game, I guess.
Well, it's just like, I don't know what happens when you're out of conditions.
So when you have your condition track filled up, if you take another condition, you pass out.
Well, I mean, 2 of those is probably not going to be great then. But I don't know, giving an opportunity is going to end up, like, getting us killed, so I think I'll give him an opportunity, I guess.
Descriptively, is that just Sky Valor, like, flailing around, desperately trying to catch these speedsters and being completely unable to do so?
Yes, probably. I'm sure she cannot catch him.
Then I think as Sky Valor flounders around with a speedster on her back and a speedster trying to saw into her stomach, Recharge, you're blissfully left alone for a moment. And the ball's finally back in your court. Bloodied, beaten, ego bruised. He hears a beep boop a doop in his helmet. And Greg comes in. We get Greg's speech bubble coming in from the helmet. And he's immediately like, hey, your vitals are going nuts. What the hell's going on? I saw that you're at the pork shack, right?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No.
Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I turn off the stream for 1 second, and this is what you get. Okay, how bad is it? That's Sky Valor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are they moving super fast? That's super cool. Wait, no, okay,
Still
Greg,
bad.
focus.
Still bad.
Okay, listen, I didn't tell you about this, but there's something built into your helmet, okay? Don't deactivate it before ripping it off. If you rip it off without deactivating it first, it will disperse an irritant smoke screen.
Really?
I'm not lying. It seems like you're gonna die, dude. Yeah, really.
You couldn't have. All right.
I thought it'd be cool, like a surprise, like, oh, you're getting beaten,
Yeah,
and
great
he goes to rip off your mask, and whoa, look at that, Greg. Okay, this isn't the time for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. I'm losing blood here.
Okay, yeah, just if you don't have anything else you can do that and get out of there.
All right. Will do. You can scrap the mask from where you are, right? All the toxins.
Yeah. If it gets ripped off, it'll basically explode, so it's not really a problem.
Oh shucks.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have to. Yeah, we'll worry about that when you're not bleeding out. Okay.
Okay.
Don't you die on me, damn it.
Is the woman still on the back of Sky Valor?
Yeah, 100%. Like her legs are wrapped around Sky Valor's waist.
Okay, and I'm close. How close am I? Like, I'm still pretty close.
You're still relatively close, maybe just a few feet away.
Okay, then I'm going to call out to Sky Valor, and I'm going to say,
You need to run.
then I'm going to look up to the girl in the doll face mask, and I'm going to say,
You wanted this? Catch.
And I'm going to rip the mask off and pitch it at her. Can I try to, like, hit her with it?
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I'm more than willing to just let you do it.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, but does that mean you're unmasked?
There's a smoke screen. Did you miss the smoke screen part that he just talked about, Danielle?
No, for some reason I thought the smoke screen was like emitting smoke. I don't know. I'm just.
It basically explodes into a smoke screen. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
The question I want to ask you, Matt, is
Me, Matt.
yes, you, Matt, me, Matt. As you're pitching the mask, like in that brief moment before the smoke screen kicks off, or maybe it's even a delayed smoke screen. The villains aren't paying attention to you. They're all focused on getting stab happy all over Sky Valor. Do you or do you not want a moment or a panel where in those brief seconds before the smoke screen goes off, Sky Valor sees who you are?
So I take off the mask. There's probably a streak of blood running down my face, probably from a cut on my forehead or something like that. And as the smoke screen's going up, she catches just a little bit of Pep's red hair as he's running out of the building, like his auburn red hair.
That's good.
Is that just enough for her to be like, that seems kind of familiar because she met him recently, for real? Maybe,
because I imagine the hair is all sweat, covered in sweat, matted in blood, that kind of thing. So it's enough that she knows that Recharge is like a redhead.
Then you rip the mask off and you pitch this helmet at the girl on Sky Valor's back. And as the helmet leaves your hand and begins to sail through the sky, a nice robotic female voice just echoes out, "Ninja dust, engage." And then the helmet explodes, midair, emitting this thick black smoke that consumes the area. And Recharge, you're gone as soon as it leaves your hand, right? You bolt out of there.
Yeah, I'm running as the thing leaves.
Sky, you see just the back, he's a redhead, and then the room gets filled with smoke, and the speedsters you hear them coughing and gagging, and it's irritating you too. Maybe you're a little bit more resilient to it than them for Valor reasons, but it's not comfortable. Recharge has left, and they don't seem to be harassing you right now, but you can't see anything and breathing is difficult. What do you want to do?
Do I see any light? Any idea where the windows could be?
Just based on seeing where Recharge went and having a good understanding of the location you're in, the direction to go if you want to bust through a window or something, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just fly out. I mean, he said to leave, and then the helmet started doing stuff, so I'm just gonna go and believe that he had that figured out. So I'll trust Recharge and leave. Fly out.
Okay. Then you fly out, and the pork shack gets filled with ninja dust. Recharge, you left the way you came?
No, I went out one of the emergency exits, probably toward the back.
Yeah, you run out. We might get a nice pull away panel of just as we got shots of the two of you arriving on scene, we probably get a panel of the two of you leaving the pork shack. Sky Valor flying out, Recharge running out the back. And Recharge, what's the we don't need to play through it step by step, but where does his night take him from there?
There's probably a panel of him grabbing onto his shoulder where he's bleeding in an alleyway, in the alleyway behind the pork shack, and he's just like, I gotta get to the school.
And it's at that point that your phone begins ringing. It's the Mushroom Kingdom.
I'll answer. I'll answer. Hey, Mr. Mario.
Actually, it's Luigi. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, bud.
Yeah, hey, my dad took the night off, but he wanted me to give you a call and let you know he's thinking about giving you a small raise. You okay with that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks.
I catch you in the middle of something? What's her name?
Oh, no. I was on a bike ride.
You don't need to play coy with me, man. Come on.
No, I promise.
We talking blonde, we talking brunette. You can tell Luigi here.
All right, you got me. It's a blonde.
Nice.
Yep.
Finger guns.
Real hot.
All right, man. Well, I'll let my dad know that you're okay with the raise. So expect a bigger paycheck, you know?
Yeah. Thanks, Luigi.
Yeah, no problem. You're still delivery, so it's still not a lot, but
I'll take what I can get.
Damn right. All right, catch you on the flip-flop, man. And he hangs up.
Yeah.
And we cut to Sky Valor.
Fucking great.
So Sky Valor kind of flies out the front of the smoky building, and there's a whole crowd out there that were kind of watching everything. Does she just fly away, or what?
How do they look? Do they look concerned?
The citizens seem a little concerned. They're definitely not cheering. A lot of them are quiet. The police officers have begun moving on the premises, and you see the one guy who was talking through the device to make his voice bigger and try to address Recharge. He just he threw his hat in the ground and he's stomping it, and he's just yelling out, "God damn kids, they don't even fucking listen. This shouldn't have happened this way. We should have been able to bag and tag them. Goddamn vigilantes. Spider-Man's a menace. I mean, Recharge is a menace."
So the authorities know to go in there?
Yeah, they're effectively trying to secure the pork shack.
Okay. So maybe I'll give a wave to the audience, to the crowd, and then I'll just leave. I'll pose a little bit in case there's anybody taking pictures.
Sure. As you address the crowd, you can hear some of them just call out "It didn't look like you won. Is Recharge okay? Where's Recharge? Is Recharge dead? Are you bleeding? Where's the bad guys? I thought you were supposed to be a hero. Some valor you are."
All right, everyone, citizens, I can assure you, the authorities are moving in. Recharge is out of the building, secure. Although it does not seem like a victory now, these villains will be brought to justice by the authorities. We will have justice. Everything is under control. Nothing to see here.
Are you a symbol of authoritying them?
Sure. The thing will be chillax. Chill, it's fine.
Okay, great. Roll me a symbol of authority.
It's not even that big of a deal. It's fine.
In a way, I was kind of hoping that I'd fail so that I get to level up. But I didn't. I got an 8.
Yeah, let's see. The NPC in this case is the crowd. They recognize your authority. So on a hit, they choose 1. They're going to attack you at disadvantage. No, I'm kidding.
Rabble.
I think in this case, the crowd doesn't necessarily calm down. They still throw some questions at you. Like they're not fully oh, okay, everything is fine, even though it totally looked like everything went completely downhill and that someone might be dying. But they do effectively get out of your way. They're not really blocking your way. You can fly, but they're not demanding that you stay. They ask you some waning questions, but I think those questions quickly begin shifting to address the police that are on scene instead of being thrown at you, effectively freeing you to leave, but not necessarily on the best of terms.
That's fine. The authorities can handle it. It's cool. You don't win them all, you know? Every once in a while, you got a weak spot. We didn't die. That's something. The authorities are taking care of the bad guys. It's okay. I think what she would probably do now is maybe try and see if she knew, like, which direction Recharge went, just to make sure, like, he's okay.
And I think that's a question mostly for Matt, but for the two of you, is as Sky Valor launches into the sky and tries to keep a lookout for Recharge, and Recharge hangs up with Luigi from the Mushroom Kingdom. Do they meet up again tonight, or is Recharge able to just kind of keep low and get somewhere safe?
My plan was to have Recharge get back to the school and have call Greg to have Greg meet him there, because that's where the secret base is.
Then the question still stands. Do you think it's more interesting if Sky Valor finds you as you're going on the way, or if she misses you?
I think it's more interesting to have her be able to trace me back to the school, but not run into me.
Okay, perfect.
You see where I'm going.
If that works for Danielle?
Yeah, that's cool. So I realize I need to go to the school then.
Well, you'd be able to track him somehow, maybe by all the blood he's leaving.
Yeah.
We see Recharge skulking through alleys and streets, keeping a low profile, stopping to catch his breath every once in a while, but approaching the school, and Sky Valor noticing splotches of blood leading away from the pork shack and slowly able to track it down to school. Sky, we see a panel of you, like, flying low to the ground and trying to track down Recharge. You know, you've been in a hot pursuit. Maybe you've thought you've caught him a couple of times, but the trail runs cold a little bit. You know, he stops bleeding as much at some points. It's a little tough, so it takes you a bit longer than it takes him to get to the school. And by the time you get there, your phone watch starts beeping.
Hello?
You hear Andromeda's voice say, "That was an interesting display at the pork shack."
I'd say so.
Yeah, you tried, honey.
Oof.
Can't win them all. They were too
Big
fast
oof.
for me.
No, you can't. It's a part of growing as a hero. Sometimes villains get the edge on you, and then you swoop around at a later date and kick their ass.
At least the police were there. And I'm looking for Recharge now. I know that he got hurt. So I'm gonna check up on him if I could find him.
Maybe let Recharge lick his wounds. That display you did with the crowd, you told them to chillax, Sky.
Well, I told them we have it all handled, and I mean, the police were right there.
Andromeda sighs a bit heavily. I kind of assumed that your grandfather would have taught you to give heroic speeches a little bit better than that.
Well, I'm a little bit rattled considering a speedster just tried to saw my stomach. Sorry.
It's okay, Sky. Just remember, heroes don't have a lot of room to get rattled. Do you really want to play with the big leagues?
Yes.
Okay, then maybe start acting more like a hero and less like a teenager. Because I'll tell you what, this display tonight, it's a little embarrassing, all right? You have it in you to be a better hero than that. You're not just some teenage girl who can walk around and casually say, "Everyone chillax, don't worry about it." Take things a little bit more seriously and comfort people. That's your job, and that's why we're looking at you. You are a hero. Act like it. She hangs up. Fuck you.
Jeez, he's brutal.
And it's at this point that because Andromeda is an adult and has influence over you, she's trying to tell you who to be and what to do and how to act. She's trying to shift your labels. You can either accept the shift that she's giving you, take her words to heart, and change your labels, or you can try to reject her influence and say, "She don't know me."
If I fail, I get a condition, right?
It's a roll to reject influence.
Yeah, if I fail the roll, I get a condition, right?
And your labels get shifted anyways.
Yeah, I'm not going to try. I don't want to take a condition. I already have 2. I don't need another one.
So then she's shifting your savior up 1 and your mundane down 1.
Oh no, a +3 savior. What else? Whatever will I do?
Yeah, no, not your main stat. What are we going to do?
Oh no. I hit people with that.
What is Sky Valor's last panel or panels of today's comic?
So, since Recharge was saying that we ended up back at the high school, but I didn't run into him, when I was on the call, I was a little distracted, so I didn't see him. But when I start to finish the call, I realize that the blood's dripping towards the high school. So I, land, and right as I get there, she's at the end of her speech and said the thing about maybe you should just go home. She just kind of stands there and looks at the trail and sees that it goes into the high school. And she's just not feeling great about herself. And she's just like, he's probably got this. He's a hero. He knows how to take care of himself. The last panel is probably just the transition from, just kind of looking a little bit down in front of the high school. And then just saying he probably has this and just flies home.
Nice. That brings up a lot, because it's like Sky Valor, an established hero, assuming that Recharge, a vigilante, maybe he has this whole thing under a bit more control than she does, even.
Well, she was just told by her, superior that she's not that as good as they thought, or maybe not as good as they thought, and she's not as much in the game as they thought, so maybe she's like, well, maybe he has it more together than she does.
We get that poignant conclusion to Sky Valor's story of this, I guess, 2-part comic book series. And we switch over to Recharge, who has since entered the school. Recharge, paint me some pictures and we'll see where this goes for a little bit.
First panel can be Recharge running up to the school, probably sneaking in through one of the side doors, muttering to himself, "Come on, Greg, you better already be here." Next panel is him limping down the hallway, but kind of braced against the lockers, leaving kind of a smear of blood down the lockers, saying, maybe we should go to the nurse's office. The next panel will be him heading into the area where the secret base is and not being able to, because he got stabbed in the shoulder. I'm going to assume dominant hand. Him not being able to work the door handle right because he can't squeeze his hand. So he just it's 2 pounds on the door as he starts to slump down.
Sure. And as he's slumping down and in the panel, he slumps down, next panel he slumps down further. And just as we're about to think that he's going to hit the floor, the door opens and Greg catches him. And he gets kind of hauled into the secret base. It sounds like he might be coming in and out of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg might say some things as he just clears off the one workbench in there of rubbish and old potato chip bags and emptied bottles of Mountain Dew and stuff like that. Hoists your Recharge onto there. And although Recharge are coming in and out, we catch glimpses of some of Greg's speech bubbles. And he's just oh man, I'm not a doctor. I can't, what am I supposed to do? I should clean the wound. And he's just he spends a little bit just standing in place, waving his arms around frantically before he gets paper towels and some other stuff to try to stop some of the bleeding. I think as the panel's focused on him, does Recharge try to say anything? Is he in any sort of state of mind to say anything?
There's probably some fractured thought bubbles. What do I do? He knows where I live. He would have killed me. And then the last panel is from Recharge's perspective, him laying on the workbench, Greg probably looking over him, and Recharge's bloody hand coming up and putting his hand on Greg's shoulder and just saying, "I wasn't good enough, Greg." And then black.
One last panel, still black, but we get a sound bubble. That's just the sounds of the door to the secret base opening. And we'll see who it is in the next issue.
Perfect.
Allegedly, perhaps.
Allegedly. Oof.
Nice.
I'm so pissed at you.
For what?
I knew it was a I knew she was
she was
a hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the
but
trap.
I did roll. I didn't make the roll, so I'm I just can't act
Right. That's why I was well, Danielle, if with assess the situation, sometimes if you ask questions that you think you know the answer to, you might figure out new things. And that was really the right series of questions, the right roles.
So it was Danielle's overconfidence that screwed us all.
No.
I got it.
No, not at all.
It's Valor's fault because she thought she knew. I was gonna say, as long as everybody else has a miserable end to their session, I'm fine with it.
I could only hope so. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
Bye, Craig. Bye. It's okay. I don't like this comic book either. You're the worst. You're literally the worst.
Yeah, no, it's cool, Craig. We'll just record in half-hour segments. That's going to be fine. That won't be annoying at all. For the love of God, make sure your recordings fucking work. A lot's riding on it.
Oh, is the red light supposed to be on?
Shut the fuck up, Matt.
I don't have a bar thing. Is that okay?
God, I'd be so fucking pissed. Oh yeah, we've been playing for 2 hours, but I forgot to arm the track. I'm waiting for it to happen, man.
Oh.
Hello, Internet. It's me, Mr. Critically Accursed, popping in to say thank you for listening to Horizon, Volume 2, Issue 4, The Pork Shack. I hope you had a good time, and if you want more Critically Accursed content, please see the issue description below, next to, wherever it is that you're listening to this. Check it out. There's some links to help you get in touch with the Critically Accursed podcast crew, and to do and engage with a lot of the cool stuff, the probably really lame stuff that we're doing on the internet. So come say hi, hang out, let us know what you think of us. Feel free to lodge formal complaints, insult us as much as you want. Trust me, we're used to it. And, well, I hope you'll listen to the next one, because I thought this one was pretty damn cool. So until next time, finger guns.
You're a superhero.